Welcome to the Worldwide Technology F5 Nginx Lab Module 1. First thing we'll do is search for Nginx on the WWT portal and select the F5 Nginx Lab. Next, we'll launch the lab and access the lab via My Labs, which is your own internal sandbox. Once you're in, log in with your credentials and open the ATC Lab gateway. This will drop you into a Windows 10 jump box where you'll have access to all components as part of the lab. Next step is to use PuTTY to SSH to the Ansible Tower server's command line. This will allow us to clone or copy the remote Nginx Lab repository from gitlab.com down to the local environment. We'll log into GitLab to view the Nginx Lab repository. Now we've created a user called ATC Lab User, that will allow you to access the Nginx Lab repository. Once in, you can actually navigate down to the Nginx network diagram and view the three modules. The first module will be deploying Nginx to an ESXi cluster. We'll clone with HTTPS and we'll copy that URL into the command line. Using the same username and password, ATC Lab User, we'll clone the repository down to a local environment. Once there, we'll navigate into Nginx Lab 1 Nginx-ESXi. Here are the Terraform templates that will allow you to deploy state locally and remotely deploy 3 Nginx instances to the ESXi cluster. Now each of these Nginx instances are Nginx Plus and they're licensed. A Terraform apply will actually push the code via the VMware ESXi API to the private cloud environment. Next, we'll log into the ESXi server via vSphere client and see in the Nginx demo resource group, there'll be 3 instances, app1 VM, app2 VM, and lb-VM. As part of the Terraform output, there will be IP addresses reference to app server public IP and reference to the gateway front end IP. Next, we'll log into the load balancer using PuTTY and the appropriate IP address, which is 165 in this use case. DHCP is used, so those IP addresses will be randomly allocated based on availability. Once logged into the load balancer, we'll actually VI the ESXi or the Nginx configuration and change the server pool nodes to the appropriate IP addresses as defined in the output of the Terraform run. Another option is to review the state file and pull the information out of the state file, the IP addressing for each of the node servers as part of the pool and the front end IP, in this case 165. Now in this environment we're using location proxy pass and that'll be the same IP address as the front end IP. Once saved that, we're going to restart Nginx on the load balancer. which should invoke that configuration. Next, we're going to navigate via the browser to the first application server, which will just render a welcome page. Next, we'll navigate to the second, and that'll render a page. And third, we'll navigate to the front end of the load balancer. And if you refresh, you'll notice that we're load balancing between two application ports for each application server 5000 and 5001. And we're also load balancing across two application server instances. Thank you for your time.